How are you finding good deals right now?
I'm looking every day and I'm lowballing, baby.
How much
I'm lowballing the at everything. And if you don't like the offer, then write me the one you like. And then I'll go back and show you, it's a game you play. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. You got to play the game.
So how do you lowball them without offending the seller?
There's no offending in business.
Wouldn't they just say, this guy's not serious. This guy's not serious.
Listen, I'm not making crazy offers. My kids underwrite this stuff. They have formulas. They have underwriting. They plug the numbers in, how much is bringing in, how much is going out, and we figure out what is the proper price for us to pay. And do we have to make capital improvements to the property? That's another factor. Okay, I negotiated a deal. We just went into contract, or we're going into contract. The place, I could blink an eye and really make the place the way it should be with $1 million. And I asked for that $1 million. We ended up splitting it. They're going to give me $500,000 credit. I mean, it's a game you play, but I'm going to have major 1031 benefits by buying that, asset. So, there's a lot of factors involved. You got to figure out what's important to you and what are you accomplishing, but it's all about, there's no offense. All right. This is the number I came up. Well, how'd you come up with that number? This is how I came up with it. It should be a 7 or 8 cap. Am I saying too much?
No, here's the thing. You could say as much as you want for the members version. If you guys want to see these episodes completely uncensored, join the membership, and we're not going to bleep anything. Everything.
Beep. Basically, there's no offense. Listen, I'm not making stupid offers, but on average, I'm offering about 25% less than what they're asking. That's what that's what their fat is.
Does it help or hurt to have your YouTube channel? Do people ever see your offer and be like, wait a second, this is Ben Mallah. I saw him on YouTube yelling at the homeless guy behind the Rite Aid. Does it help you at all, or does it give you credibility, or do they just say, this is Ben, he's probably filming this?
They never say this is Ben, he's filming it. Everything I do is real. And they know if I tell them I'm going to make them an offer on that property, I'm real. It's a 1-page LOI. It has my name and signature on it. They take it very serious. You know why? Because my name's not Jack. I got the money. No, I mean, the YouTube thing, I don't, does it help in people knowing who I am? Yes. Okay, yes. Most people, most brokers especially, they know who I am, and they will respond to me where they probably wouldn't respond to him. So it does help me because it shows who I am. I mean, there's nothing fake about me. There's nothing, it's all real. So they know this guy's the real deal. Okay, like my wife said, what'd you do all day? What'd you do today? And I told her, you want to know what I did today? Why don't you read the paper? There's a news article about a deal I just closed. Anyway, the point is it does help.
How often is it that someone comes to you with a deal from YouTube that they just want to sell you something?
I get them. And I almost had one, but I didn't want to go out of state. In fact, I fed it to the guy that me and you were going to visit in Georgia.
Okay.
I do get opportunities, but they're mostly out of state. Anything going on in Florida, I pretty much know about.
Got it.
And I don't really want to branch out, But I don't do deals from, I don't get a lot of deals from YouTube, no.
So you're saying you're trying to get more liquid, but at the same time, you're still buying a lot of deals.
Well, I'm always going to be buying if the deal makes sense. Because I got kids to run. My kids run everything. I don't do it. If I tell them tomorrow, hey, go take over that 250 units over there, they'll say, fine. They'll go over there and they'll take over that. And they'll run it. And they'll make money. They'll actually do something to make money. I said, I'm not going to pick on Jack. I'm sorry. How do you tell you? Or they could be like Jack and do nothing.
How do your kids stay motivated to actually go and kill managing a 250 unit apartment complex?
I don't.
But how do they? Like, how did you
foster this? They're going to hire an on-site manager. They have an on-site maintenance person.
But still, what Jack is saying, how are they so motivated? How are they motivated to do
like
so
me,
much?
They're hungry.
Why are they hungry when you've done so much that they could theoretically just be a bit lazy?
My kids came from nothing, the older ones. And they're hungry. And they want to do it on their own, too. They want it. Listen, I couldn't count the number of deals my kids have done or places they've lived in, like gypsies, all over the place. I couldn't even. I tried to think about all the places my middle son lived. I couldn't. I lost count. I couldn't remember. There was too many of them. Anyway, I trained them. They grew up with me. They came from nothing like me, so they have the same motivation of hunger of being able to know that they've made millions of dollars and they can take care of the family and they can enjoy their life. I mean, I'm their example. Well, look where the fuck I live. They all live in $1 million houses, not like this, but they live in multi-million dollar houses. They got boats. They'll get to my level when they're at my age. But anyway, what are you talking about?
What about
now?
your youngest?
Who? My youngest?
Yeah, your youngest. He grew up in
with
affluence.
money, yeah.
So how do you cultivate that hunger?
Well, he's not spoiled. I mean, he appreciates whatever he gets, and I still, with my youngest son, I'm constantly giving him things to do. Okay. Yeah. He's the one that's going to go to college. He's graduating high school in a couple of days. He's going to college here in Tampa, and he's interested in the stock market, but I think he's really gambling. He just go, you like it because it's gambling. That's why you like the stock market. Who are you bullshitting? But anyway, he's definitely money driven. Likes to make money. He has that bug that we all have.
Is he born with it,
But
or
he
you
likes
think
to
that was
spend money.
or that was taught?
He's been around me. And he knows that money makes your life a lot easier, or helps. And it definitely, it's nice to go out to dinner and not worry about what the bill is, right? Well, you don't know. But, luckily I'm lucky with all my kids. My kids all got the bug to make money. And if I tell the young one, listen, go do this, go do that. Listen, during the hurricane here, he was out there, filthy dirty, shoveling sand, pressure washing, whatever the we had to do, we do. And we go on a yacht. He works the boat with the captain. He wasn't with us when you went, did he?
No.
Okay. Anyway, I try to raise my kids to where they're definitely what's the word I'm looking for?
Motivated. Hungry.
Motivated.
Now, what would you say to parents whose kids are not hungry or motivated?
I think kids, when you live with your kids, you spend a lot of time with your kids, typically a lot of them follow in whatever you do. You have to set the example, and you have to put them in the environment. Okay, I put my kids in the environment. When Ben Jr. was in his first year of college and I saw he was just partying and having a good time, I told him, college is not for you. Here's an address. We just bought the apartment building. Ship your car from California to Florida. Go get an apartment over there in this building and take the shit over and start collecting the rents and make sure everything's fixed. And he did. And
Why did he do it?
He was 19. He was like 19.
Why did he do it? Did you offer to pay him a lot of money?
Well, he had no choice. I mean, it was either that or I had to walk away from him. I mean, I wasn't going to keep paying $50,000 a year for him to party in school. I mean, what are you going to do? You're not going to school. You're taking courses. You're not getting good grades. All right, you had a good time for a year. I'm glad you had a good time for a year. Now go. And then this way, I'm also protecting myself. By helping my kids, I'm protecting myself because now I'm almost 60 years old and I want to take a break. I want to enjoy life. Now let them take over and run everything. And now they all have the experience to do that.
Did he resent you at all during that time where you pulled him out of school?
No.
How did he feel when you said, sorry, no more partying, but you have
That
responsibilities?
seems like such an abrupt change.
Listen, he did what I asked him to do. I told him, go over here to Largo, Florida, move in the building. He did. He took it over, and he was already grew up in the business, around the business. So, and he saw that how the business has helped the quality of our life because he remembers being dirt poor. I remember, living really rough with I had him when I was 18. So I was, bad shape. I was in the army and, barely make ends meet. But anyway, I'm lucky. All my kids step up to the plate. They do whatever I tell them to do because they know it's the right thing.
Do you think
And they get rewarded. Okay, they all live in, like I said, $1 million homes. They all have boats. They all have fancy cars. They all can go on vacation. All their kids are in private schools. They all do very well.